Hey, welcome back, everyone. Today, no dyno, but I thought I address, I would say, one of the most common asked a question. It's about what's the parts needed and how to get to the maximum your stock block can handle on a 4B11 EVO 10. Um, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna tell you today what I would prefer, what I would think is the best, most reliable, and we'll do two versions of them. One, on the cheaper side, or bare minimum, and the second one where the most ideal way to do it. But before we do that, just wanted to give you an update on what's going on in the shop. It's just been a really crazy week. Try to get some cars done, but let me tell you about a couple of the projects. This is Donovan from Wisconsin. We have his 2.0 block done. We're just waiting for a couple of parts from the dealership, and then we're gonna get this going. And he's gonna have a GTX 3584 RS on it. The goal is mid sevens, maybe close to 8. But yeah, this thing has our package where it's good enough for 1,000. He's got the right bolts, right pistons, clearance, the correct machining, assembly, our spec on everything, the right rod bolts and the rods. So this will hold up 1,000 plus, no worries, and still a wet block. Tyler is getting his car painted, but this is a 2.2 version of this, with a slightly different. He's also aiming for high horsepower, but more street driven than anything. And I think his is going to be a little bit of a show car because that's what he wants. So this says a Manley billet crank, has 150 millimeter rods and CP pistons. And this is one of my favorite builds as well, if you want to do a stroke. So let's get to the main floor. All right. So as you know, we moved and the shop is packed. Trying to push it out as much as possible. But a couple other projects. We had some adjustments done to, this was the car that did, it was a 2.2. And now we're doing a 2.0. He's using a G42 1200. So we're building that motor, trans, everything. Wheels, the whole car, including fuel. We have the GTO that had a 383, but now the block's been sent out to the machine shop because the customer, whoever put the motor together didn't do it correctly. There was a lot of metal shavings, so we're getting that done. We have Falley's car. We just put a head on, and this thing has just springs, retainers, FP red, injectors, fuel system, and it has, I think, Kelford C's, and we're going to tune it as soon as there's E85 in the system. We need him to clean that out. We don't have time for that, so put a map in it so he can just drive around and clean all that out and bring it back. So stay tuned for the videos on those. This I'm really excited for. This is a Trailblazer that we're doing, one of our close customers. And you know what, let me get a light so you can see everything. Let's see. All right, so this is the LS2. We almost got the headers off, and this is getting a turbo kit. So we're doing the Huron Speed turbo kit. This is an 88 millimeter. That's a big sucker. Okay, single turbo. Got the fuel system. This is a complete kit. Should be done in a week. So videos on that coming up. That's Falley. Ethan's car, big build on this. He's gonna get a Zona. There's nothing inside right now. He's gonna get the car painted and all that. We're doing everything, wiring, fuel, everything, and he's gonna get a Zona 95, so close to 1,000. Cruzito, This is an MR from Wisconsin. I don't personally know Cruzito, but he seems like a very nice guy. That's his last name. He had SSP transmission, heated sump. He also has a GTX 35. And we had to replace the engine because I don't know what happened before the car came here with no engine. So we're redoing everything, and now his turbo's bad. So I think the engine or the turbo caused the engine to blow, or the engine caused the turbo to blow. We don't know, but we're rebuilding it. I think this is his. You see the blades are fucked up inside. If you can see it, it's pretty bad. So yeah, he's gonna get it rebuilt. We're probably gonna go with like a FP upgraded turbo. Now the Subaru, engine done, everything good. We're just waiting on the clutch. It's back ordered, as to be expected with times. I don't know if you guys been experiencing that, where things has been back ordered because of the crisis that's going on. Okay, so this is the Lancer, Nick's car, with a GTX 35, 82. He came back. He's having issues with the motor mount in the back. We're going to put solid mounts, and then we're also going to do the exhaust system. A couple of pieces came off, and then we're going to tune it. He's doing a flex wheel tune on this. Front wheel drive, yes I know, but still. And this is Augie's car. Remember this car? I'd made a video on this, how to do flex fuel. Well, this is the car I believe I used. He's got a clutch change and he's having clutch issues, so we are assessing that situation. And then who do we have here? Sal. So this I'm gonna make a video about for sure, because it's something I wanted to do a video about. He has a stock turbo, but upgraded head. So spring retainers, comfort seat. I want to see what the stock turbo will max out at, right? I'm guessing a little bit above 4, maybe most 425, 420, an 85, but could be wrong. And then Zaid's car, we got to get that done. I'm going to tune that today. But yeah, back to aim of 500 horsepower. I mean, I think that's a pretty sizable amount to assume from or achieve with the stock block. I think it's a border of the safety line. Of course, torque, yes, you got to keep the torque down below 400. I mean, you could do more, but not consistently. I'm assuming people want to get to 500 because they're going to use it quite often. Now, assuming this is my preferred way of getting to 500. Assuming you watch one of my other videos, what is the base modifications, which is upper intercooler. Well, let me just use this car as an example. Hard upper intercooler pipe. This is very, very important. It does have a noticeable difference in the way the car drives. You gotta have a 3-port boost controller. You gotta have an intercooler. Obviously, the fuel system to support. So this is my suggestion for the perfect way to get to 500, 550, where the motor's not stressed out and the torque is still low. Obviously, you're gonna need a power adder, right? And then you're gonna need to support that newfound power. My favorite turbo to get you to that is a GTX 3576, and with a 3.5 intake. I use MAPS intake because it fits pretty well, but you can use whatever you want. But 3.5 intake to go with that turbo. And I think Christian has it, I think. Yeah. But either way, I've done some video, what's the name? The Stage 3 head that had like 500 something, the blue car with the license plate Koba. He has that. issue here is people don't want to build a head. I get it. It's a lot of money because it's not just one thing. You don't want to exactly build cams. I'm sorry, you put cams in and not do springs and retainers, because if you do that, you might risk you're risking something going wrong, such as the cam angle. I'm sorry, the Maybach cam gear on the exhaust side breaking down. So we on this car, he does have cams. He did get springs, and we did the Maybach cam gear delete from Magnus. So that was my previous, I think, video that I did. So that increases the cost a lot. And let's be real, you want to get to 500, but there's nothing wrong with being cost effective. So we got the turbo. I prefer a GTX 3576. I know there's a lot of other turbos that'll get you there, but that is my favorite. That's pretty reliable turbo to me. So that's the turbo I recommend. Fuel system, because we're not aiming for like big power, I guess, like maxing out the turbo or anything. So a FIC 1200cc ID 1300s, I prefer the 1200cc, will also do. And the fuel pump, a 320 or walbro 450 is good, but just be careful with the walbros, because the big walbros, some of them on some cars require like a whole system where the pressure is regulated better. So the 320 I know is proven, the AEM or aeromotive, to get you to 550 on E85. And yeah, that's the other thing, you have to do E85. Big enough turbo, you could do it on 93, but 93 to me is very volatile. The gas station to gas station changes. Yes, so does the 85, but it has a lot of NOx compression that 93 does not. So that's the base. You're gonna have to do this on the 85. So either flex fuel or dual map. So we got the turbo. Assuming you already have upper intercooler pipe, a blowout valve, 3-speed, 3-port boost controller, and intercooler, right? Minimum 3-inch. The GTX 35 stock location is fine with the 3.5 intake and the fuel system. That's basically it. Now here's the other thing. If you don't want to build a head, you with that turbo can get you to 500, and it will. It's just doing cams will make it much easier. So I just tuned a car where we made like 470, I think, and his fuel pump gave out. So we had to stop there, but he was going to make 500, completely bone stock engine, top to bottom, and he has a GTX 3576. Now, on the other hand, if you do have cams, you will make the same power much easier. I personally believe it'll be a lot less stress on your engine. I just wanted to take a quick little glance and go over my findings, the difference between having cams and not having cams. So I'm going to show you two cars. This is the one I tuned, I think, last week, Victor's car. He had a bone stock, just bolt-ons and turbo. No cams, no springs, no nothing. He just had, I guess, intercooler, upper intercooler pipe, injectors, and fuel pump. So this is Victor's car with a GTX 3576, 3.5 inch intake, and this is on 27 pounds on E85. Now, like I said, especially with stock engine, I would definitely go with E85 to do all this stuff, because it's just a lot safer. And you know, with the boost, I think behavior is a lot better in E85. But either way, this was on its way to making 500, and we had to stop here because the fuel pump stopped working. It literally just cut out, and you know, the pressure started dropping. So this is like the second to last run that we were about to do. I was just about to add timing, So on this run, we're running 27 pounds of boost, and I think maybe 13 or 14 degrees of timing up top. And as you can see, there's a lot more room in it. So just say that this is going to be 500. But I'm going to show you what the same, actually it's not even the same boost level. It's 24 PSI, the second one. Let me just get there. Okay. So this is the same exact car. Well, it's not the same exact car, but it's another car. Same exact setup. But the green line is with cams, but this is on 93 octane. 93 octane, similar timing, and 24 psi, same turbo, same everything else. It just the cams just wake up this car like dramatically. So it's definitely worth getting cams because he's running 24 pounds and making the same on 93. And let me show you with 24 pounds or 2 degrees of more timing, if at that, and E85. So this blue line, let me highlight that. This blue line is the same car with the green with cams, 24, 25 psi, and maybe 1 or 2 more degree timing from the green line. All the main difference is the head. That's it. Same turbo, same exact setup, and it's almost 100 horsepower difference. And that's what cams does. You know, the EVO X head flows a lot more than EVO 8s and 9 do. They don't really require that much of, you know, work. I think on the head, just cams make a huge difference. So it's definitely worth getting cams on this car. But you can make 500 on both, without cams or with cams, and that's the main difference. So those are the two types, with head work and without head work. Let's get down to the cost. A GTX 3576 will cost you like $2,600, and intake another $300. So you're looking at close to $3,000. A fuel pump, $150 to $200. Injectors, probably like $500, maybe a little bit more. So what are we looking at? $3,000, $3,600. Okay, and that's without the head. Installation, it'll vary place to place, but you could look at a good another, I don't know, like close to $1,000 for installation and tune. Just if you do single map E85, it'll be, for me, $600. So that's basically your bare minimum in a good way. You could cheap out on the turbo, yes, but I wouldn't. And that's your 500 horsepower. Now to do the cams, I believe the last time I checked, cams were like $600. The springs and retainers, they're $400 average. You don't have to do the valves. You could do it in the car. Head studs recommended. So it starts adding up. I think we charge with parts and labor, with labor, including cams and everything, I believe it's close to $3,000 or maybe $3,500, is somewhere in between. And what you get is you bring in your car and we basically lift the head, do all the work, valves, retainers, springs, cams, MyVec delete, new buckets, shimming of the valve springs, and we put it back, new timing components, and that's basically it, and a base map. So you're adding on another $3,000 on top of the turbo, but obviously doing the head will get you to your goals much safer and easier. It does have its drawbacks. A lot of people can't live with large cams. In high gear, lower RPM, the car will act different. There's no way around it. But that's if you're expecting, you know, like for it to be stock. If you want it to be stock, then keep it stock, right? So that's basically the two ways. One is around what do we say? You know, $4,000. The other one is $6,000 to $7,000. But the $6,000 to $7,000 one, that's including turbo and head and all that stuff. If you already have that stuff, that's pretty good. Uh, it's something that you won't have to do again. Meaning, at this point, you taken your car maximum to what it can do on the stock motor, without having to build it, sleeve it, rods, pistons, whatever. And typically it's much cheaper when you do timing job to do it then, because you'll save money on doing the timing. But that's basically it. My recommendation on how to get to 500, and you could do it either build the head or without building the head. If you have any questions, just email me. It's YouTube at bdalchemist.com. I'm on Facebook, same thing, BD Alchemist. Instagram, and basically that's it. And then thank you guys. I'm trying to be consistent in making videos, but it's really, really difficult with the new shop and all the stuff that we're doing here. So if I'm slipping, I'll once we get settled here, which we're still not because it's new staff and new stuff. We need equipments and things like that. I will get back on track again. And then I got my Corvette. I just ordered exhaust and intake and headers and X pipe and exhaust, and I didn't order the typical one because I know I'm going to supercharge it eventually. I don't want to have to change the exhaust again. So I actually did a 3-inch from header collector back to the tip, and it's going to be here in 4 months. I'll make a video on that, and then eventually cams and supercharger and see where we are, and then engine build maybe next year. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Keep watching. Love the questions. And thank you, and be kind to each other.